Hi, I'm Matt and welcome to Less Dependent Wisconsin. Well, today I get to harvest my beets. It's the early part of July and they are ready to harvest. So we're going to do that. I think I can get a second crop in this year, so we're going to plant some more seeds. I'll show you how I get the soil ready. We're going to make some pickled beets, and then I'm going to make a warm beet salad with the beet greens, fresh beets, and portobello mushrooms. So quite a bit to do today. Let's go get started. There are three factors when it comes to deciding when to harvest your beets. The first is the time factor. Beets are normally ready to harvest between 55 and 70 days. My beets have been in the ground for 61 or 62 at this point. Okay. The second factor you'll see is the leaves will start wilting. Now, if you think that may be due to a lack of water, we can just do a quick soil check, and you can see that the ground is plenty wet. Okay. So water isn't an issue. The leaves just start to go as the plant gets older. And then the final thing you'll see is the actual beet coming out of the ground. If it's coming out of the ground like that, it's probably ready to harvest. So let's see how this guy looks. That's a good beet. So let's get these harvested. And there's the beet harvest. One lesson learned for sure, you want to properly thin your beets. The bigger ones didn't have any competition. The smaller ones had ones growing next to them. So I'll have to remember that when I start the second crop. Now, because it's July 2nd, another crop goes 55 to 70 days. That'll put me at the early part of September, and that should be before the first freeze. So we're actually going to get a second crop of beets in this year. I'm going to go ahead and get this soil amended and ready to go, and then we'll plant our new beets. Okay, I really don't have any extra soil, so what I am going to do to amend it is I'm going to add some biochar and then a tray of quail excrement, and we'll get that good and mixed into the ground. And then after I plant the seeds, I'll water it with a compost tea to add more nutrients into the soil. So today we're going to be planting Seed Savers Exchange beets, the bull's blood. They're ready in about 55 days, and we're going to want to plant them about a ½ inch deep, and there's about 20 in this package, so we're going to do 5 per row. So thinning won't be a problem at all. Now, the first thing you're going to do is just take your hand and make a little trench in the dirt. Not very deep at all. All right, and I've already done the other 3 rows. So now we're just going to plant 5 of these per row. Okay. And check that, I got 16 seeds. So we got 4 per row, so these better be some big beets. And then we're just going to lightly cover it up. Tamp down a little bit. And now we'll just give these a good soaking in compost tea. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do to get the beets ready for cooking and pickling, we're going to cut off the leaves and leave about 1 inch, and then cut off some of the root. Okay, we'll leave the dirt on there. Again, this one. So then we'll put them all in this bowl. One thing you can do is the leaves are edible. So I'm going to save a few of these leaves and we are going to cook them up with some smaller beets, butter, and some salt and pepper. See how they taste. Gave the beets a quick wash. And there are the greens I'll be cooking up. So we're going to head into the kitchen now. So the first step in making pickled beets is we got to peel our beets. And if you got a lot of smaller ones or the vegetable peelers just being awkward, the easiest thing to do is use your knife, cut off the ends, and then we're just going to run our blade along the beet, pulling off the skin. You're going to lose a little more of the meat doing it this way, but it also saves your fingers and your sanity from trying to peel these little ones with a vegetable peeler. Alright, so we got that. Now we're going to cut these into 3/4 of an inch pieces. And then we've got our bowl of them right there. Next thing we're going to do is add them to the boiling water. And then we're going to let these boil for about 15 minutes. Alright, we got a little reserve hot water. Alright, and we'll let these boil for about 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes, the beets are cooked. They'll be the consistency of like a cooked carrot, basically. You're going to want to save 2 cups of the beet water that you boiled them in. And now we're going to make our brine for the beets. So the first thing we're going to do is add those. I guess I had the pot on and it was hot. Alright. 2 cups of beet juice. You got 1 quart of vinegar. I did 1/4 apple cider vinegar to 3/4 white vinegar. And 2 cups of sugar. Got a tablespoon of pickling salt. About a tablespoon of pickling spice. And then I'm going to add 1 cinnamon stick in there. So we're going to let this come to a boil. I'm going to get this mess cleaned up. And then we're also going to sterilize our jars after that. So I've got our water going for our water bath. Now to sterilize these jars, I'm just going to set these in here. Now I've got metal rings on the bottom to keep the glass from actually touching the bottom. So they're good. They're just sitting in there. They'll sterilize in just a couple of minutes. And then we'll do the same with the lids. Get those in there. So we'll just let that boil for a minute, pull it all out, and set them on some dry paper towels. So the beet juice got done boiling. I skimmed most of the pickling spice off the top, the cinnamon cloves still in the bottom. The jars were sterilized, and we've added the beets to them. So now we're going to pour this hot liquid over the top of them and seal them up and put them in the water bath. Alright, and then we'll take a little boiling water, clean off our tops, and then seal them up. Not too tight, just finger tight. Put it in our boiling water. Okay, I had to add some more water to the top, but as you can see, it's close to a boil. Once it starts boiling, we'll let it go for 10 minutes, and then we'll pull the jars out, and they'll be sealed. 10 minutes is up, so we're going to go ahead and pull these out of the water bath. And 24 hours later, the jar's sealed up nicely. So we've got some pickled beets to look forward to this winter. We're going to be making a warm beet salad. First thing I'm going to do is I'm melting 3 tablespoons of butter at a medium heat. And then I picked some of the smallest beets out of the bunch that I had. So we're going to get these cleaned up. And I'm going to cut these very, very thin. Like the size of a dime almost. So just be careful using a knife, but slowly work the blade back and get these nice little slices. Okay, so our butter is warm. It's starting to slightly turn brown. So we're just going to go ahead and add our beets now. And because we sliced them thin, they aren't going to take very long to cook. Saute for a couple minutes on medium heat. Add some thinly sliced portobello mushrooms. Give that a quick toss. And now is when we'll hit it with a little salt and pepper. With salted butter, so you don't want too much salt. I'm also adding 1 clove of garlic. Okay, almost done. So for the beet leaves, I'm taking out the main stem, just because I don't want that in there. And we're going to kind of roll this up real tight and cut it very thin. It's called a chiffonade cut. Nice and loose. Okay, after about 5 minutes, your beets will be nice and tender. Your mushrooms are cooked. Now we're going to go ahead and add our leafies. I'm not going to cook this very long. I'm just going to give it a toss. But we will let it cook down a minute. So it's been a minute. Cook down the beet leaves. So go ahead and put that in our bowl here. And we're going to top it with a fresh fried quail egg and some green onions out of the backyard. Nice little salad. Okay, I've eaten about half of it and it is pretty tasty. Overall, the quail egg and the butter pair really nice together. The portobello adds some earthiness to the nice texture of the beets, and overall it's a pretty tasty salad. I'm gonna go finish it. Well, we're in for a big storm. The temperature's dropped about 15 degrees in the last 45 minutes and it is kicking up. The radar says it's coming towards us. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Hope you learned something. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much. If you aren't a subscriber, please consider subscribing. So focus on being less dependent. We'll see you soon. Have a great day.